was watching
Recording in progress.
today, it's luckily it worked out.
We need some.
Okay, I think we're ready. Good evening. Welcome Conservation Commission on Thursday, June 18th, 2026. We're both in person and remote. Before I begin with the agenda, I just wanted to say today is Pat's last meeting after 8 years of being a great commissioner, and we will miss you,
Wow.
unless you change your mind in the next 2 weeks.
I'm gonna miss all of you.
Thank you so much, Pat, for your service. We really appreciate it. If we could get a round of applause for Pat.
All right, now we'll move ahead. First order of is conservation fund requests from the Yarmouth DPW for the Upper Bass River restoration. If you'd introduce yourself and go
Hi,
ahead.
my name's Connor Clifford. I'm the civil engineer at the Yarmouth DPW.
And would you like to tell us a little bit about your request?
Yes, the Department of Public Works is requesting funds to bridge a funding gap to continue the permitting schedule related to the Upper Bass River Restoration Project in the amount of $36,500 in consulting fees for Stimson Associates Landscape Architects. The town of Yarmouth, with its partners, have received over $9 million from state and federal funds to transition to construction of the Upper Bass River Restoration Project. Previously, Friends of Bass River received community preservation and other funds to aid towards the design and permitting for the project. Weir Road culvert replacement and cranberry restoration was presented in front of the board in February 2026. Upon completion of the review of that NOI submission internally with the Yarmouth Town staff concluded the maintenance of the proposed footbridge and boardwalks would be challenging. Yarmouth Town staff visited 2 recently completed projects with the Harwich Conservation Trust, and through discussions with their staff on what would be a more practical approach, and concluded a simpler design would be desirable. However, none of the funding partners are able to cover this scope request. We request this revised scope from Stimson as attached. Thank you for your consideration in this matter.
I'm sure you all read the administrator's report, but we do have money in there to cover this, and would leave money, fund would still leave about $26,000. I asked Brittany this morning, we don't get money that come in, so it's not an account that gets more money each year since Brittany's been here, and it's something we probably should ask at some time when the money gets down to lower amounts for the town to give us some money every year, even if it's only $10,000 or $15,000, so we can do things like this. Anybody have any questions? Jack?
Well, you elected me secretary last time, so if you look at the different kind of activities that the secretary does in different towns, you might not want to have elected me. But that's really just an aside.
I was wondering what it was.
On this particular item, there is not a procedure for us for people to make applications to for using the funds. And I would like to propose that we do set up a procedure at some point. But on specifically this, I was really worried about the general language that you have in where you talk about, well, first, staff discussions, scope of revisions, the details of a practical approach versus simpler design. You don't point out what those mean. And in the accompanying application from Stimson, first of all, they talk about 3 bridges, and then yes, you only talk about 2, so there's a confusion right there as to what was actually planned and what the work was changing and why you needed this money to mostly, I guess, look for permits and other administrative overhead. So So do you have any more information on the specifics?
The changes to the bridge were regarding easier maintenance for the town.
Well, what specifically?
I can try and pull up the bridge specs. So the bridges that Stimson had originally proposed were creative in their design. They went for an innovative approach. If I can find them quickly, the use of materials was in abundance of what we would want for a simple constructed bridge that's easily maintained. And the type of materials used were not easily accessible for DPW. So as Connor said in his letter, we visited other parks of similar scope nearby and wished for a more simple bridge design.
I'm sorry, that doesn't answer my question.
What is your question exactly?
What do you mean going what size to bridge to another size? What are there fewer resources needed to make them? What materials are going to be used? You don't think that's in our purview?
I think that Stimson hasn't designed it yet, and they've requested a simpler design to work for.
Well, I'm not going to push this to the point of, I presume this is your staff here in town has pretty well overview, but you can see where I'm heading on giving out this kind of money. And when we don't, I guess we don't have any specific uses for it right now other than this. Is that true? No other requests or from us or from other parts of the town?
I use it as match funding, so I'm using it currently as match funding, but the monies that I've already encumbered are not reflected in the available value. So they're separate from what's
And
available.
as Dave mentioned, we'd have to go back to the board to get more.
I'm sorry?
We would have to go back to the board, from what I understood, he said.
Who's we?
You mean the commission would have to go
Commission
back to the board?
would have to go back to the board to get more, this money in this.
As far as I'm aware, money has not been added to this account for any reason in quite some years. It's just available. They used to add money to it, but they haven't in a very long time, so town meeting.
So I'm not going to object to it, but
I think this is an excellent example of what this fund is for. Without projects like this great giant restoration project, what would we use the fund for? I mean, these are projects that are active and ongoing and need additional funding. I don't see the purpose in keeping a cache of money for projects that have yet to begin. I think it's a wise spending of our funds. And it wouldn't limit me or the commission in future projects because we do have some money in there and there are many grants available that we can also use.
Just have one question. I know it's to maintain, you want to maintain those trails and what you put in there. Do you maintain all the trails that are conservation areas? Because just the other day I was out on the trail in West Yarmouth that's off of Winslow Gray, and the boardwalks there are in terrible shape. And I do remember several years ago when I was on this commission that we had to take funds from this particular fund to pay for construction of bridges there. It came out of our money here. So I just wanted to say that there's some
You're
other
correct, yeah.
places that do need attention, and it does come out of this fund for the other areas. So maybe you could look at those bridges down there. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is a little confusing to me. I don't know what I missed, but the thing is that, could you explain again why you require this? This is to maintain some bridges that don't exist yet?
No, this is to redesign the original design.
Redesign the original design, because the original design was too, what, exotic, flamboyant or something, or?
It's not what the town wanted.
Was
You
to
can-
simplify.
You can
the-
see the design.
So why does it cost more money? I mean, they already paid for a consultant to design those bridges, right?
Right, and now we need to
Now,
pay,
because the town doesn't like the design, you're going to the Conservation Commission to ask for funds to come up with, pay a consultant for other designs. It seems a little bit convoluted in a way. There must be a really good reason for it. It's a wonderful project over there. I think that's clear. But I guess, and my other question is, so you want $36,000 from conservation, you know, because the money is there, but the money isn't anyplace else in the town budget? Not in the
To my understanding.
DPW, it's not in the, I don't know what, you know,
To my understanding, yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
aren't there some kind of, aren't there funds in a free cash kind of a thing? There's no money there?
I don't know exactly what that budget looks like right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Because this account, I remember a comment a long time ago about the fact that no money has been put into this account by the town since like 1978 or something like that, you know? And so all of a sudden, somebody discovers this money and says, oh, I know where we can get the money. Instead, was there a thorough investigation of other places in the town to get this money besides this conservation fund? You probably don't know.
Yes, that would have been done by my boss, who's the town engineer.
Yeah, okay. Well, it just, in a way, it's, and probably some of it, my confusion is because I think I missed some of this information along the way. I picked up my packet, but I'm not sure where it was supposed to be. But, but it's what I used to call, when I was working, management by mystery, in a way. I'm not getting it, why you need the $36,000 from this particular fund, you know? So anyway, which, I guess if it's there, and it does, as Brittany says, it does conform to some of the definitions of what the money could be used for, that's fine, but it just seems like it's a convoluted, late occurring type of a request, and it just makes me, I guess, a little bit uneasy too, as maybe Jack is.
Yes, just two questions, I think. The first question is understanding the budget that we have. If we don't use it, we lose it? Is that how it works? We don't use it?
No, the
Or
conservation
does it
fund
carry over?
carries over each
Okay.
year and has
Does
been
carry over.
accruing interest, which has been the only addition to the fund, and
Is what
it
accruing?
accrues interest,
It
yeah.
accrues interest. And, okay. And then when does the fiscal year start? When does it kick in?
July 1st.
So it's July 1st okay. So we haven't used for fiscal year 2025, we haven't, we've
If
used
you're
it for
asking if
what?
we're using it for other things, right now, we do have money encumbered for invasive species management and Chasebrook Park right now. So it is being used,
All right.
but that money is separate from the available
Okay.
balance.
And I know you'll probably talk about the scope of it, but my understanding, the ad isn't so much for a scope. It's time, it's wages, it's time. So what I'd like is if we could turn to that, because there's a little disconnect. You give salary, on one part of the estimate, you give the wages or whatever, and then the second part, I'm not sure how you get to the total. How about if I ask it that way? It's the numbers pages. It's just 2 pages, because you say it's lump sum. That's it. It's not time and material. I think I want to make sure it's a lump sum and not, we spent more hours in coordination, so we're going to ask for more.
Right, yes, this is a lump sum,
It
one
is
time.
lump sum. Could you just
one-time
walk
thing,
us
yeah.
through how you came to that 36,000?
So to be clear, this was submitted by the contractor Stimson, not the engineering department.
Oh, okay, so you don't know the answer to that. Okay,
How they got those specific numbers, I'm not sure, no.
okay.
Dave,
Yeah, well, give me 1 minute.
okay.
All right, so I don't have an answer for that. Okay.
I will.
Okay.
I'm done.
The commission gets to ask questions first, Jack, okay? Anybody else have anything to say up here?
Okay, thank
Yeah, I
you.
just one question.
Yeah.
So, the money is for consultation regarding the redesign of the bridges, correct?
Correct.
Yet,
Actual redesign,
it also
actual redesign.
It also says that upon completion of review, staff concluded the maintenance of the proposed footbridges and boardwalks would be challenging. So how does the design relate to the maintenance? What do you need the money for? The design, the consultant for the design, or for maintenance in the future?
It's for the design.
But why does this say maintenance here?
That's how they came to the request. So I was in all the meetings where Amanda and the director of DNR, Dave, who would be maintaining the bridges, who is the one who maintains our other trails, discussed the materials and their challenges. So this is the design that was approved. And Rick knows about this as well. So you can see it's a very unconventional, kind of like Lincoln log approach. And they're proposing to use 12-inch diameter black locust palisades, which split and crack frequently. Because they know this because they've used them at one of the playgrounds, which was funded through CPA, and they have documentation of this material being difficult to maintain, and they don't want to use it again. And so this would be difficult for DNR to maintain because of the difficulty to obtain the black locust palisades and to prevent it from splitting. And so you could see how much area it takes up as well. It's like 14 feet wide, where we want to reduce impact. So the footbridge is only 4.5 feet wide. So it would be also reducing impact from a wetlands perspective to use a more simplistic bridge design.
So, I'm sorry. So the design has already been established?
The original.
This is the original.
Original.
the
So you
original.
want to go to a new design.
Because this
It's gonna be
doesn't
with
work.
this other kind of material, and it's gonna cost $36,000 more to maintain it,
No.
No, to
Redesign
design
it.
it.
redesign it. Okay, so that was erroneous in that letter.
No, the letter is correct. It's due to the difficulty to maintain the structure that they designed originally. They're requesting a redesign.
So because the town is requesting the redesign, correct me if I'm wrong,
Contractor doesn't want to.
contractor did the work, and now the town is saying, well, you need to do more work because we need to redesign. And therefore, when a contractor needs, it's like hiring an architect, and you say, well, I don't like that, you need to redesign it, he's gonna charge you the extra money to redesign,
I get that part
and
of
that's
it.
what's happening here.
It's the
not-
maintenance part of it I don't
It's not,
understand.
it's not the other way around, it isn't like the town, so the money is because we, the town, asked the contractor to redesign it, and he said, sure, but it's gonna cost you money, someone has to pay for my time. And that's where
Really,
the $36,500 comes from, is that simple?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, but it
That's
says
just-
something about the maintenance there, so to speak, but anyway.
Well, that's
yeah.
part of the reason they wanted to
The
redesign.
redesign will allow for better maintenance.
It'll be
for
better,
easier
easier to
maintenance.
maintain,
Okay,
that's the reason, that's the way I understand it. Am I
Okay.
right, Brittany?
Yes.
all right. Sorry that I'm being so obtuse.
No, that's okay, I'm just trying to simplify it. Pat?
Just want to bring up my subject about the maintenance of the other bridges and the other areas in this town of the conservation areas. I walk them all frequently, and they're all in need of assistance. So I'm just going to throw that out again. You're worried about the maintenance of something that hasn't even started, and you better go out and take a look at all the bridges we do have out there that are pretty sad shape.
I understand that, but that's not what we're voting on.
I know, but I'm
Okay.
bringing up my point.
Yep, I appreciate that, and I think,
Actually, it's our money that's going to go into repairing them.
right, well, no,
It's
it
fine.
doesn't have to be our money, that should be something that the town
But it does-
should,
But I
well,
wanna
they have
let-
to be asked by
I
the
just want to let you know
department.
that I was on this committee,
Yeah.
and we had to pay out of our fund for all the lumber, et cetera. The workmen did the work, but we paid for all the supplies.
Anybody else up here before I move on? Brittany, you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay, now, Rick, you want to say something?
Yes, good evening. Rick Bishop, Executive Director, Friends of Bass River. A couple points to clarify for you. Friends of Bass River paid for the original design with Stimson Engineering approximately a year ago. After these designs were submitted and in communication with Yarmouth DPW, it was concluded, and I think rightly so, that these designs were a little too fussy, if you will, and they would be a little more difficult to maintain on a regular basis. Pat, to your point, the Yarmouth Division of Natural Resources maintains the paths and the footbridges. So that's who does it. It's not a DPW function. It's a Division of Natural Resources. So they're the ones, they've also weighed in on this, and they thought that a simpler design would benefit them in terms of maintaining the structures. You know, this 57.2 acre wetlands restoration will have some of the, I think, the best walking trails in the entire town. So these designs are in place to make them accessible to everyone and easy to use for everyone. So I think I really would urge the commission to support this request. And we paid $45,000 for the first run for these designs, and what David said was absolutely right. You get into a point when you're working with engineering firms, and if you don't like it, you send back for a redesign. You pay for that because that's your choice. So again, I would ask you to please support this evening. It's really critical to the timing of our permitting process. Right now, we're still on schedule to begin construction of the wetlands restoration and the Weir Road Bridge construction next year, but we need to resolve this evening so we can get it in process. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have a comment, question? Anybody online? If you do, raise your hand, please. Having seen none, can I hear
I have a follow-up
motion?
question.
you have another question? Sorry.
Since you were unhappy with the first design, will you be receiving kind of preliminary designs before the final redesign is complete, so you can weigh in, so that you don't have to redesign a third time?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like that wasn't done on the first time, but could have saved a couple $1,000. I can make the motion if anyone else
Jack wants us to ask another question.
I just have a precautionary point that you're asking for 2/3 the price of the original design to redesign it. And I would normally have a lot of questions about why it took 2/3 of the same amount, or the original amount, to redesign. Are you doing that much redesign versus, and he's shaking his head, yes, so I'll go,
You're done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I have one other, regarding Brittany, regarding this amount of money in the conservation, what is just a conservation fund, right, which hasn't been contributed to by the town for many, many, many years. Could we have some sort of a proviso that's included with this that requires the town to make at least a nominal contribution on a regular basis to this fund, so that these kinds of things come up in the future? We're not running out of money in that fund?
We can't do that in this committee. You'd have to ask the select board, and it would have to go to town meeting.
Let's go to the finance committee too, so we can't
It's
ask.
okay,
We
it's
can make a
okay
request.
to dip into this fund and provide $36,000, which, clearly sounds like it's necessary and needed. But it's kind of this convenient pocket of money that very casually, I think, folks have gone after. But at the same time, we can't ask, we have to jump through hoops probably, to get the town at long last to contribute any money
Right.
to this particular fund.
And it's something we can do as a commission to, when they start to put the new budget together for the next April or May's town
I think-
meeting,
thank
and
you.
ask for X amount of money for the Conservation Commission fund. And just like they vote, for 100,000 for this and 20,000 for this.
Do we have any idea why they haven't contributed? They probably asked us in another meeting. Since, it's like 1978, right? Something like that?
It was before Munis started, so we can't find it.
Oh, that's okay.
Say that again, please?
It was before we started using Munis, so it doesn't go back that far.
The thing
Town
is,
clerk should have minutes.
it's hard to ask for money when we have this money sitting there. So I think when we get to a certain point, maybe we are at that point with the money that's left over, that we do ask for it when they start putting a budget together in the fall. And I don't think we'd have to ask for much, maybe 10, 20,000, which in the amount of money that the town spends, I don't think is a big ask. So we put it in there so that when trails need to be maintained, we can say we can help. But we can't, when this money's gone, then the town's gonna have to figure it out for themselves. So,
I'd like to further emphasize on your point that we need to be careful that money's been sitting there for so long, and somebody will come back and say, what the heck are you doing with that amount of money around there? We have so much problem with our own trails and haven't process to look at alternatives uses of that money, and that's it.
Well,
That's the whole point of the fund, is that it has to be approved by the Conservation Commission. So if nobody comes forth with a request for use from the Conservation Fund, it doesn't get spent. And all the fund requests have come from me in the past 4 years. So no one else is asking for it.
so we have approved money from this fund for other items.
Yeah, the open space recreation plan was $35,000. The invasive species management plan was $15,000. And there have been smaller here and there, 1,000, 2,000 for maintenance.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Just- I think what makes this hard to decide on is, I don't know, I kind of feel like the little guy here, and, you know, I don't know DPW's budget, I don't know how much they've contributed to this, I don't know who else has contributed to it. So makes it just difficult, that it's like, well, gee, why do you come to us little guys? And DPW, I'm sure, has a big budget. And what happened that they can't afford this? That's all. It just makes it more difficult to approve in that
I think I could
sense.
make a recommendation for a special condition that the project team continue their effort in finding funding for this. And if the commission approves it, any difference be returned to the Conservation Fund.
Do you want to make that motion, Bradford?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah,
She's already, you've got it.
I'll second that.
Okay, anybody else have anything else to say before we vote? Okay, all in favor of the conditions and issuing an order for this conditions and approving the money? Say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. And you
Thank
thought
you.
it was gonna be easy, I bet.
Now it's gonna ask us for money again.
That's one way to handle the problem. Okay. I'm going to go out of order just for switch for number 2 for number 3. So I'm going to go to Hamlin Consulting for Daniel and Deborah Bianchi. 35 Ocean Ave, proposed addition to land subject to, proposed addition in land subject to coastal storm flood.
Thank you. Lynn Hamlin, representing the applicant. I'll keep it quick for you. It's a simple addition in a land subject to coastal storm flow, just no other resource area within 100 feet. You can hear Route 28 from this property. I'm going to stop right there and see if you have any questions.
Before we go, is there something I have to sign for what we just voted on?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Problem.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
I know some of you have been there.
Nope.
Okay. So, do we want to issue an order of conditions for approval?
No, a -2 determination. It's an RDA.
Okay, yeah, I forgot to turn the page. Okay, for an RDA for -2. Can I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was quick for you, too.
Thank you.
That one I have to sign.
Yes.
Only it's somewhere down here.
Now we're going back to the right of way.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
All right, now back to number 2, TEC Associates for Mass Coastal Railroad, Railroad right-of-way, ongoing vegetation management on railroad right-of-way within the NHESP and the buffer zones to several BVWs and water bodies. And I don't think, am I right, that nobody is here for that, but
I don't believe so. So we got an email this morning from the TEC Associates representative saying he has 2 other meetings, so he won't be able to attend. But this is, I'll just read the rest of the email. The commission reviewed these maps in 2021, and the railroad's most recent vegetation management plan expires at the end of last year and is in the process of renewal. It requires an RDA be submitted to each municipality to renew the wetland delineation. They're asking that you make a determination in their absence, and the work that they do to maintain the coastal railroad is detailed in their operational plan that was included. And this is mostly, it's reviewed by the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, and the work is generally exempt under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, but they have to let us know about it, and we have to review the wetland delineation portion of the work. So we don't necessarily review the treatment aspect, but they do have separate treatment areas for different levels of sensitivity. There's, I think, at least 4 no treatment areas, sensitive areas, and regular areas. And so if they're in a zone 1, zone 2, or within 10 feet of a wetland, they're more sensitive than areas outside that. But we generally have issued these in the past without any issue.
We do receive a courtesy note for spraying before they spray.
Yeah, they notify us when they're spraying, and they're scheduled this year to spray between August and September, and then ongoing in the non-sensitive areas throughout November.
Any questions?
They're requesting a positive 2 determination, which is confirming the wetland boundaries from the mapping program, since it's expansive.
To Ellie's note about being the little guy, we can't even get a representative for this.
Yeah.
This
Can't
is
continue if you feel
unfortunate.
like it's important.
Unfortunately, we cannot continue an RDA.
Oh, that's
So
right.
you can either do a positive 2A or say that they need to do a notice of intent, but you can't continue an RDA.
We don't have any say over what they spray, what they can't spray.
I know, I just think it's very inconsiderate of the railroad.
I did call Ed to see what they did in 2021 because I wasn't here then. He said all they did was they took a ride on a pickup truck along the railroad to look at the areas, but they didn't get off. So they just viewed the general treatment areas, but they didn't review the wetlands because they're not delineated in the field. They're just delineated on the map.
Well, I have 2 issues. Obviously, we are going to pass it. The issue, though, is the maps are terrible. And I think that they ought to make it, not send us maps that are so convoluted and irrelevant that we can't even tell what their zones are. Second, I think that there's an issue that maybe we do have, at least the ability to comment on, is that 10 to 100 feet on some of those areas of the range is ridiculous. And that if you're, certainly some of those, there are bridges, there are marshes, areas that maybe they have to have a minimum of, or let's say, they have to, because you're talking about being able to send, repair crews down, you have to have certain kind of limits for, or let's say, the ability to spray enough to really make enough area to get at the problems they have. So I'd just like to know if they're really 10 feet is really, or should maybe it ought to be 30 or 40 feet to 100 feet.
Yeah, I think we can definitely work on submitting a comment letter. I'm happy to draft one per this conversation, and we can have more discussion about it, what we want to include in it, because that is something I think that is important. I agree with you. Should definitely let them know, even if we don't have the
Perhaps
authority
if
to
they were
change it.
here, we could have told them that.
Yes, this is correct.
Well, I just want to make these comments on the basis of my father having been back in the 1940s, well, actually 25, going down and repairing some of the Western Railroad right-of-ways. So anyway,
David?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry. I was
So,
looking at the map.
am I to understand that we could, for example, vote to continue this so that we get a representative here?
Well, we
do
can't
that?
No, we
continue
can't.
it, they'd have to redo an NOI.
So what happens if they have to do that? I mean, they can't begin the work?
no, I think that's not, they'll override us and say,
Can do anything they
Yeah,
So they can do what they want, right?
It's-
So why are
it's-
we even involved?
it's
Formalities.
policy.
Like a rubber stamp.
Rubber stamp. Yeah.
It's like a notice, but they're required to submit this.
but there is a bureaucracy there that says, okay, what are those 2 to 10 to 100-foot limits? And the bureaucracy is still alive and could be possibly, like Brittany said, maybe we could impact it.
Yeah, the health department and conservation have in the past submitted a letter requesting different concentrations of herbicide application and the like. And I think it would be appropriate to submit something similar and include those buffer zones. Not necessarily, I'm not sure they'll respond, but I think we should submit it.
Well, I think there might be a interest on the part of the community to know what, if they, especially if folks live in those areas and live near those bodies of water or whatever the case may be, what they're spraying and how they're doing it, and as Jack says, how far they go, all that. I mean, those are reasonable questions, aren't they?
And they do provide that information in the, in this report. All of the herbicides that they're using and at what concentration and where they're going. But it is basically just a notification letter. They send it to us, letting us know this is what they're doing.
But the people who live in the area don't know it's being done. They don't get a notification, am I right?
I'm not aware who else gets notified. I know we do, and the health department, the select board, us, Board of Health, MDR, Rights of Way program. I don't know who this last person is. Oh, Mass Coastal Railroad. So individual homeowners don't get notified, but the town does through the select board, Board of Health, and us.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I feel like we're helpless in doing it. I went to a big meeting way back 8 or 9 years ago about electric company utilities doing spraying. It was in Barnstable, and people said, we don't know what you're spraying. You give us these names. They don't mean anything to us. I mean, there were some people there who did know what they were and talked about carcinogenics and all that. Nobody knows when it's going to happen, but I think Bradford's right. It would have been nice to have somebody here to answer these questions.
So part of this says in 2026, brush control is limited to manual and mechanical cutting in sensitive areas and buffer zones. In non-sensitive areas, the foliar application of herbicides will be conducted. So right now they're not spraying in the sensitive areas or buffer zones, just outside.
But they could be in the next 5 years. Is that what this is for?
This is a 5-year plan.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the question I had, and I'm sure there's a simple answer to it, is that they enclosed, there are 2 maps that they say represent the locations of the permanent marking setbacks for sensitive. I was just curious on why one is dated 2011. I mean, it looks like it's a continuation of the line, and then the other one is dated 2026. It kind of makes me nervous to look at. I mean, I guess it's 2 different lines. I don't know. That's why I really don't understand where number 1, why is one dated 2000? I guess that's the Cape Main line, and then the other one is the South Dennis Branch, which I guess has been updated in 2026. So the question would be, why hasn't the Cape Main line been updated since 2011? Because it does show groundwater source, things must have changed since 2011
Excellent question.
for the Cape Main line.
So just to get this straight, if we vote not to give them permission, they would have to come back. If we vote, they'd have to come back and redo it, or they could go ahead and do it anyway without our permission.
You have to issue something.
Is it in here?
Just look it up.
May I point out something?
Sure.
The letter they sent us points out at the bottom, please consider a positive 2A determination. All we're doing is confirming the accuracy of the resource area boundaries.
That's correct.
So these questions that we have really don't relate to that. And I would.
Actual work. Yeah, the work is exempt, but what they're asking for is the wetland boundary determination.
So I don't see how we could actually confirm those boundaries with these maps or anything, which is maybe what Ellie's saying. But that, also, I think that they're just gonna go on and put a footnote in and say they didn't get a response from us, from what I took away from some of the other papers. And I think that I'd like to ask the representative come back to us and answer a lot of these questions if we could.
Yeah, so the other option is, so they're requesting a positive 2A, confirming the boundaries. The other option is a 2B, which is not confirming the boundaries. So you're welcome to do that. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
much it will change the outcome, but
Just because we don't confirm the boundaries doesn't mean they won't go ahead and do their job. Is that fair to say?
I would say
I
that's fair
can't
to
answer all
say.
these questions for them because I don't know.
Okay.
But again, as Jack, we have no way of confirming the boundaries anyways. I think Jack said it already.
I think this representative should be aware that we are, well, at least I am deeply unhappy that he did not show up, but it sounds like the rest of the commission would have also appreciated that.
Yeah, they made a
He emailed
choice of
me
where to
this
show
morning.
up and where not to, and we were chosen not to.
Yep.
Maybe we have a reputation that
Even though we
they're
meet
afraid
at
of us.
this every, we meet very consistently.
I mean, I have a hard time personally, I agree with you, Bradford. I think that to approve something that I can't ask questions kind of bothers me. I don't know, from what I understand, I assume that if we compared their map from today, from 5 years ago, who's to say they've gone out to even redo the map of the wetlands? None of us.
You're welcome to issue a 2B and have them come back with a new RDA if they can be present. I'm unsure if, they will. I will try to get them to. You don't have enough information to make a decision, then issue a 2B.
I would like to do that. Anybody else?
I agree.
Can you repeat that though? What?
Excuse me, if we issued the 2B, not the 2A, we're basically saying, can you put up 2B again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, the boundaries are not confirmed.
We're not agreeing, we're not confirming the boundaries, and they would have to come back with the new RDA and speak to us. The-
And be present.
With a clear delineation of the work.
Or at least have someone show up to explain it.
Right,
Yeah, I would agree with
Good.
that.
Good idea.
okay.
So are you making a motion?
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that we issue a positive 2B determination.
Second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So I don't sign this.
No, you still have to sign it, and we still have to issue a 2B.
Okay. Or not to be.
Knew that was coming.
I couldn't let that one go.
No.
Not after
Yeah.
teaching English for 35 years. Okay. Well, I hope we're not scaring the next person off.
Sorry.
Next is Stacy Joyce, 27 Holly Lane, proposed addition in land subject to coastal storm floodage.
Hi, good evening. Stacy Joyce, owner,
They
27.
are really nice people.
27 Holly Lane.
Can you talk a little louder?
Sure. Stacy Joyce, and I'm the owner applicant for 27 Holly Lane.
Would you like to just talk about what you would like us?
Sure. As you could see from this view, we're looking to extend, simple extension addition 5 feet beyond the current footprint, which will come right to the middle there where you see those little landscape rocks before the driveway. Just to the side, not front or back.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you for showing up in person.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, I gotta find my notes again. So we're gonna issue.
Just have
we
one
would-
question.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask about you.
It's okay. Are you going to put gutters on the addition to downspouts?
Yes, you'll see in my notice that we are going to, there'll be no regrading, no soil added, and The gutters on the addition will connect to the existing downspouts on the house.
Okay, downspouts will stay in the same spot. Excellent, thank you.
Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions? Anybody online have a comment or question? Raise your hand. Don't see anybody. So can I have a motion to accept the issue in order of, with, as a -2? -2 is a positive thing, by the way.
I'll do that,
I
Dave.
heard.
I'll do it.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. See how simple that was?
Thank you so much.
It's simple when people come and they have a clear,
I'll release your building permit now.
Do you have their letter in the file, right? The to whom it may concern?
yeah.
You have that, right?
Uh,
Because that's where she had the downspout. there.
okay,
I just want to make sure you have it.
I think so. Is that the narrative? Just
Okay,
need to-
thank you. All right, that was
Okay.
Holly Lane.
Okay.
Okay, next is BSC Group for Joseph LaPerriere. Hopefully I pronounced that right. 20 Perch Pond Way, proposed addition in the buffer zone to an inland bank pond and any NHESP priority habitat.
Jeez.
This is again 20 Perch.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group, representing the owner of the property, Mr. and Mrs. Lepori. We are proposing a small addition to the rear of the existing house, facing the pond. As you mentioned, it is in the NHESP. We did file with NHESP, and then they did respond to say that it was not considered a take, so it's acceptable to NHESP. The reason being is that we filed under the exemption because it is already on a disturbed lawn area, and as a result, there is an exemption for that. We filed with them, and they said that we were good to go. It is also within the 100-foot buffer to wetlands. You'll notice it's right at the outer edge. It's 82 feet. Our proposed addition is 82 feet from the wetland. The addition itself is 176 feet. We've shown you a chart on the top left that talks about the disturbance. The area between the 0 to 50 is completely filled with vegetation other than the trail down to the water. There is no space to add any additional plantings in the 0 to 50-foot buffer. It is completely filled. There is also an open order of conditions that was discovered from 1997. We had researched the property under 20 Perch Pond Road, but the open order was issued under Lot 6, Perch Pond Road. So when we did our initial work, we did not catch it. It was here with the town that Joan Brittany saw that it was still open and active. We will be filing a certificate of compliance request for this. Earlier today, I took this original plan from 1997 and overlaid it with our current plan of the fieldwork that we had done. And the approved house from 1997 was actually approximately 7 to 8 feet closer to the pond than what actually was built. So it worked out, should we say, better for conservation, better for the resource. The house was pushed back approximately 8 feet from the approved plan that's on the screen right there. We will be coming back for a certificate of compliance on that. We're already working on it, and I hope to have it in file before the next meeting to get approval. But we do have an RDA in front of you tonight to get approval for this small addition at the rear of the property. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody, questions? Go ahead.
Just a clarification. So it looks like the addition is adding 176 square feet of hardscape, but you have zero mitigation proposed, and the reason for that, from what you just said, is that because there's no place for it, or is?
That is correct. Because the 0 to 50 is completely filled in, other than the walkway down, which obviously we're going to maintain the pathway down to the water, there is no place to add mitigation in the 0 to 50.
Okay. Thank you.
Was there any opportunity to do invasive species management?
I don't believe that the client has necessarily looked at invasive species management. And I personally haven't been on site, and honestly, I don't know invasive species, so I can't speak to that. But I can mention it to our client that, have you been out, Brad, and you saw invasives?
I didn't, just to echo Ellie's comment that even if there's no space for planting of mitigation plantings, invasive species management could also be an option as far as doing that. So, like, you say it's an entirely vegetated bank, but it could be entirely Morel's honeysuckle, which is an invasive. I did not have a chance to go out there, so I didn't see what the vegetation is, but
It's not currently in our regulations. That is a good idea to add. Right now, we just have if the 50 is fully vegetated, no additional mitigation is required, but I think that would be a great addition when there is no space. There was a curious occurrence on site that we did ask the homeowner about a little bit, but a lot of the plants along the boundary of the lawn are experiencing chlorosis or turning white. And this is usually a side effect of a topical herbicide. He said that he has no knowledge of any herbicide being applied on site, but since it is within the buffer zone and NHESP, any herbicide application would have to be approved by the commission. So if there's anything going on, he said he gets the property sprayed for mosquitoes from Fairway. I don't know what they use, but it's definitely doing something to the plants, and it should be investigated a bit because they're all turning white at a 3-foot height. And it looks very consistent with some sort of spraying.
Including other neighbors.
I didn't see anything. We only went on this property, not any neighbors, but it was pretty.
Yeah, as we left, I saw.
That was his
whole row.
property. That was his property still.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh,
So I was curious. And I would recommend including that as a condition that no herbicide be sprayed unless it's approved in an RDA.
So what would the, my concern, in the picture that Jack was in?
This one?
Well, the one that shows the deck, so what happened when the deck was built? Was there mitigation then? I mean, not the deck, the patio? There's a concrete patio in the buffer?
No, I don't. I think the patio might be the only thing that's inconsistent with the original plan. It is rather small, and I think it was built at the same time the house went in. I'm not sure. I didn't research it, but.
So, but if we did require mitigation, what would be the calculation on 176?
It would still be nothing because the 50-foot buffer is fully vegetated. So in our regs, under mitigation, sorry, your regs, newer replacement hardscape when the 50 where a 50-foot undisturbed buffer exists, further buffer zone enhancement is not required. But if it doesn't exist is when we have mitigation for like all those properties along Parkers River where there's lawn up to the edge. But where there's properties like this that have been built the sufficient distance away, we don't usually ask for anything more.
Yeah, it's the slope that's worrisome. That's all. The slope is very
Slope is-
worrisome.
it's well vegetated.
Fully vegetated,
Yeah.
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 And this site does not disturb down to the 50-foot buffer. It's approximately 62 feet to the edge of the closest point of the clearing. So there's additional
Yes,
beyond the
here's that
50-foot buffer
slope.
that is well vegetated.
Lots of trees, lots of shrubs.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else?
There's Jack.
Jack, sorry. Try and keep you guys out of the photos. Sometimes it's impossible.
Jack loves to be in the picture, that's the problem.
Yeah, right. And mean looking.
Any other,
So I'd recommend a -2 and 3 with the special condition, no herbicide application on site without previous approval.
anybody in the audience? Anybody online, raise your hand. Do you see anybody? I don't see anybody. Bradford, you see anybody?
No.
You're in the horizon. Okay, can I hear a motion, issue an order with conditions that Brittany mentioned about herbicide. So moved, Jack. Second? Paul? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
So the next two are going to be continued, Karen, if you want to stay.
So,
Okay, this is,
Perch Pond.
okay. The next one is SE 834516, Atlantic Coast Engineering for J. Scott Martin, 104 and 110 River Street, proposed pier, ramp, and float system in riverfront area, land under the ocean, coastal bank, land containing shellfish, and land subject to coastal storm floodage. They have a request to continue to 7/16.
For waterways.
Or what does it say, all waterways?
It's supposed to say for waterways.
Okay, sorry.
Waterways continued, so
So Waterways still wants to make their comments, and then we would hear from them. So can I hear a motion to continue?
So moved.
Second, Jack, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that was a good one. All right, that's this one. All right. Next one, SE 83-2531, BSC Group for Stephen Katz, 703 Route 28, proposed site redevelopment and land subject to coastal storm floodage. Riverfront area and buffer zone to a coastal bank. Okay, I'm just making sure my mind is in the right place. This too is a continuance to,
July 2nd.
no, it's not on here, but July 2nd. Okay, I think it's in my notes. Yes, it is. And this is one that Christian wrote a nice note about?
Yes, yeah, so they said that the cleanup is underway, and don't start any site sampling yet, because they may have further discussion about if the site sampling will be necessary, per Christian, who is a hazardous waste specialist.
So Christian's not here, but he wrote a note to Brittany, who will send out the note to us about
It's in Laserfish.
his expertise and why we might be asking too much for the,
Sampling.
We did get some initial costs, and it was quite steep, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad
fair.
that conversation is open.
yeah.
Would you know if a good history, I mean, of the property ownership and uses would at least alleviate in my mind what
There
has
are a
happened.
lot of,
And if
yeah.
I agree with you on the cost. There's enough,
I know it's had two specific uses since I got here in 1985.
but I'd like to
Tile
see
shop,
yeah.
Purely for sale, and it was a furniture/office
Oh, that's all.
second-hand store. You know, there was some other things that went on there. There was some storage of things, but as far as I know, there was only two uses primarily on the property in the last 41 years.
And they do have a section in the health department section of Laserfish of there's a section called hazardous materials, and they did handle and store hazardous materials on site from 1990 through 2009. And there were no reports of a spill. So that's why Christian is thinking that it might be egregious to ask for 6 samples, maybe just 2 at the septic site location, but we can talk about that. They did request a continuance, so we probably shouldn't discuss too much about it.
Oh, regarding dirt, I couldn't tell, can we look at 3.0, see 3 point, because there's 3 test pits. There were 3 test pits done, they weren't, very deep, but could you walk us through where those were taken?
I can't because I've requested a continuance
Okay.
tonight, but
Okay, we'll do it next time.
I can because I was doing who dug the hole, so I can definitely do that, but I think
At
it'd be
the next
inappropriate.
meeting.
Okay, so when were those done, the test pits?
Last year.
Last year, okay.
Okay,
All right.
so let's hear
Next
a
time.
motion to continue to July 2nd.
So moved?
Jack?
Oh, okay, second.
I gave it to Ellie, Jack second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. So that's, what I do with them.
Talk about dirt next time.
Did you not even put that in here?
I don't prepare those.
Okay, so the other one was in here only because it came late. Okay. It's right here, never mind. Okay,
South
next is South Sea Ave. Notice of intent for SE 832543. BSC Group for Odesset Capital and Thomas and Linda Fallon, 286 South Sea Ave, proposed new dwelling with ADU and septic and land subject to coastal storm floodage and national heritage habitat. That must be you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group, representing the owners of the property and also my client Odessa. This property was before you in 2019, and a order of conditions was issued at that time to build a home in pretty much the same location as the proposed home that we have right now. At that time, it also went to National Heritage, and National Heritage approved this as a no-take at that particular time. It is an unusual site in that the endangered species is actually a plant, and the radio tower next door needs to maintain and cut grass a couple of times a year just to give the plant an opportunity to grow. So it's not your typical species that we're protecting in this situation. But as I say, the NHESP approved it, and we have submitted again to them for approval. We did check earlier, and there was nothing posted on it, so we don't know what that is, but we have submitted to them. We are proposing drainage swales along the outside of the property. As mentioned, there is no resource here other than the land subject to coastal storm flowage. We do have to bring in fill to make the house flood zone compliant. We are paving the driveway to get the slope up into the building. The septic system will be Title V compliant. We have a limit of hay, straw wattles and walk area that is similar to what was approved before. There's just a minor change to it on the northerly side of what was previously approved. And other than that, it's a proposed dwelling in ADU that we're looking to put in on this property at 286 South Sea Ave. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
I'm going to actually start this time. I noticed there were a number of trees taken down.
20 and 16.
There it is. How many? Yeah,
20
20
pines.
mature pines and 60 mature oaks. Is there any chance they would replace some of those? Certainly not going to replace all of them.
The problem for us is that we're clearing the smallest amount possible, because when you look at the area of the septic and you look at the area of two buildings, we're limited in what we could plant there. Now, if the commission feels strongly, we could possibly put in some smaller trees on the easterly side towards the NHESP line, in the area where the NHE is most prevalent. The whole site from where it widens out is within the NHESP, so all of our work area is pretty much, other than the driveway coming in, is within the NHESP. But I mean, I guess we could add some trees to some of the slopes on the north side, and then possibly add some more on the southeast side. Just ones that wouldn't get too tall, where we wouldn't have to worry about overshadowing the building. You know, that's one of the issues with the trees, because our work limit line is not that far away from the building. So, but yeah, we can definitely look at adding some.
Personally, I'd like to see that. The driveway, I believe, is going to be concrete.
Yeah, bituminous concrete, blacktop.
Yeah, would they consider, instead of that, change it to pervious?
That's one of the problems we have with these flood zone construction houses, is that you got to get up onto the garage slab. And when you have a slope like this getting up there, the tires just spin out and the stone just gets kicked up when you have to accelerate up the hill. So it's an issue that we always have. I mean, if the commission would like, we can, maybe add some additional drainage, in that, but,
Is there any possibility to just have only bituminous on the slope and the flat part gravel?
I can definitely talk to my clients about that. Obviously, we can't close because we haven't heard from NHESP, so I go back and talk to them about that. And if they, really want blacktop, then we'll add some additional drainage. And if they are acceptable with stone for halfway till it starts getting to the slope, then we'll deal with that accordingly.
Is the slope natural, or is the slope something you're adding?
Slope is something we're adding.
Okay, because I walk by there a lot, and I don't, not that I see inside all that heavy woods, but certainly the driveway between the road going to what I used to call Radio City and to the house next to it is flat.
And we did attempt back in 2019 to utilize Radio Lane as our access, and no agreement could be agreed upon
Not
between the
surprised.
parties.
Shocking.
Surprise.
Tried hard.
Okay, and swales seem to be, I don't have the exact size, but they seem to be, seem to not have enough details about the swales. Can you give me an idea about them?
Yeah, we're proposing swales on the south side and on the west side. Basically, the total slope is 5 feet from the property line, and we're proposing a 2-foot wide swale at the bottom that would be approximately 6 inches deep. That will run along the westerly side and will run along the southerly side. The one on the southerly side is pretty much only where the driveway is. It's not needed over on the easterly side because there is enough flat area at the bottom, so it's not going to shed onto somebody else's property.
Are you thinking of planting anything on those swales?
No, we were going to grass them.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? You're gonna
We're
what?
going to put grass
Oh, grass,
in
okay.
the swales.
I misheard you. I thought you said blast. I'm saying, okay, that's not happening.
No need to blast in this area, it's all sand.
Paul?
Yeah, David, you had mentioned something about trees being removed. Now, I was out there, but where in this, I don't remember seeing a place where trees were removed, or was that some time ago?
No, the trees have not been removed
Oh,
yet.
they
They're on
haven't,
the-
then. I thought you said they were. And
Plan to be.
He did say.
is it in the area where the,
There's some
Yeah,
trees in
there's-
this area right here, and there's some trees in this area. There is a little kind of cleared area in this area.
yeah,
So the trees would be in this area and in this area.
so the trees that have to be removed obviously are where the house is gonna go, right?
Correct, and the slopes.
And the slope,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Because there are a lot of trees on the property, so,
Yeah, I
you
know,
know,
yeah.
so. Yeah.
How many are they leaving?
Well, the site is quite big. We're only utilizing about, less than half of the overall site. So we're not going into beyond the work limit line.
Yeah.
We're not going into, so whatever's there
All that
is
will
there.
remain.
Now, some of the area has been cleared because of the endangered species, and it was mowed at some stage. It's not been mowed now, as far as I know, but it was mowed at some stage. So there is some clearing in the backside that was previously done in this area right here.
Yeah.
At one time, this was all part of the radio facility, and the radio tower then became separate about 20 years ago.
Right.
These lots became separate about 10 years ago.
So this is where the radio station used to be?
Yes, the house right in front and the house just to the north of that was where the old radio building station used to be.
You must remember that, Paul.
I do.
Some of us are old enough to remember. Do you remember what radio is, Bradford?
Oh, stop. WCAI, NPR. I have a quick question.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Just, so, not in our purview, but just curious, why was there a septic tank? Why? what
That
was-
used to be the septic tank for the radio building.
For the building, okay.
Building.
So my question is, on your note, and in your narrative, you say that the septic tank, an existing septic tank on the site will be pumped, crushed, and removed from the site. Does that include, your arrow points to the septic, but does that include the leaching field next to it? You know, there's a small triangle and there's a big triangle, and my question is the big triangle being excavated out?
Absolutely, because that's where our new driveway is going, so wasn't designed to be driven over, so it will be removed.
Okay, so everything's gonna be removed, okay. And I'm pleading ignorance. What does concrete bound to be set mean?
It's basically a
new.
boundary marker. It's
Well,
something that's put,
concrete boundary marker to be set.
it's 5 inches by 5 inches, and it's 3 feet deep.
Okay, I didn't know it. And then my last question is, just as far as the limits of work, there is a note here about an existing driveway to be abandoned and maintained as open space and annually cut per. So I don't know, when you say abandoned, what does that mean? What, is it just, there you are, where, there,
That was the former access to the radio station, but the access now comes from
right.
Seagull Lane.
So are
it's
they
not-
gonna revegetate it, or what, what's the scope there? And is that part of the application, or is that NHESP?
That's, if I guess this is the easiest way.
Yeah, off to the right there, yeah.
This right here is our property line.
Yeah,
This is belongs to the
okay,
radio. It's not
that's what
part
I
of this
thought, so it's
application.
not part of this application.
I probably should, this was a note that we had on when we were working on this as well.
Yeah.
We can take it off if it's confusing, but that was the intent, was that they were going to work over that.
They'd be interested in some trees in that area?
Well, yeah,
Well, they're not, it's not our land, and actually NHB is not interested in trees in this area.
No, I meant the radio.
They specifically do not want trees in this
I
area.
understand.
yeah, I'd like to add as a condition, I think it's a no-brainer that those trees should be replaced, even if it's small trees. There has to be room on this site to replace in kind the trees. There has to be.
Are there any other alternatives where we can pull the house any amount forward to not have to get rid of? So these are like on the very edge of the grading. Is there any way to steepen this up so we save some of those or some of those?
If you notice underneath those trees on the south side, that's
Future reserve area.
reserved, but obviously we don't need to put that in now, so we can look to pull back the slope a little bit on that southeasterly side to reduce some of the trees. It's an unusual site, Ms. Tierney, in that the NHESP do not want us adding trees in the areas that are cleared right now. So obviously the site is large, there's an extra half an acre that's outside of our work limit, and it's easy to say, yeah, we'll plant trees in there, but in this particular case,
They have jurisdiction over that.
and as far as I know, it's the only case I've ever come across in my career where plants with the endangered species, where they didn't want us to plant anything. So it's a unique site.
Is it that new NHESP doesn't want you to plant anything, or is there habitat enhancements that could be provided that would benefit that
Last time we
suitable
filed-
habitat?
Last time we filed with them, they wanted us to cut it every 6 months on the radio side to be sure that everything had an opportunity to grow. So
This one says you may cut per the vegetation management plan, but it doesn't say required. But obviously they'll re-up their comments. It says it's permitted. Periodic mowing is permitted per the vegetation plan. In the winter through spring. No other work shall occur. So we'll see what they say, because there are two species. There's an amphibian and a plant. I don't know which one.
What year was that?
2018.
Okay. I see it, yeah. Who knows, new eyes might come up with new,
right, well, as I said, we have filed with them. We're waiting for their comments.
yeah,
And,
we need to wait.
in the
anyway.
meantime, I will look and see if there are some spots where we can add some trees in.
Yeah, or pull in a little bit.
And
I think it might be easier to save trees than to plant all of them.
I have to ask this question only because of what you said. You mentioned, we talked about trees, and you said the applicant didn't want shading. Is there, are some of these trees coming down because of the shading?
what I should have said was proximity to the building. In that if they're within, if they're too close, if you have a pine too close to the building,
I know, it's not good for the building,
it's not good. You know, that's what I mean, as opposed to sunlight, purely the,
so it's not an aesthetic decision.
I just have to make it known, we've received two letters of opposition from neighbors at 278 South Sea Ave and 282 South Sea Ave concerning if the stormwater management by the swale was sufficient, and some irrelevant concerns about the ADU, which are not in our purview, but the stormwater concerns are. But I think you've addressed that the swale is sufficient in size for the project, is that correct?
correct, and we can extend it a little bit. If the neighbors are concerned, we can, you know, extend it so it goes all the way down to the driveway.
Yeah, I think, which house was it? South side. Swale, they have concerns that it will displace water. And they're at 282. I don't know which side that's on.
I'm confused, just by, who wrote that letter?
The owners of 282, but I'm not sure where 282 is. Because they're not on the south side, they're on the,
Say Thomas and Linda Fallon?
Yeah,
So that
that's
one?
282, that one right that you have the cross,
Okay.
cross on, yeah, and then 278 is just to the north of it.
got it.
My confusion is, when I read this in, for 286, it says you're working for Thomas and Linda Fallon as part of the Odessa Capital and Thomas and Linda Fallon, and now you're telling me Thomas and Linda Fallon wrote a letter?
Owner
Concern?
286.
They did, yes, just to clarify, Thomas and Linda Fallon are selling the property to Odessa. So Tom and the Fallons are on there because they're the owners of the property, and they signed the application for us to go forward.
I see. But they want you to expand as well.
But they want what?
It's an unusual situation. Apparently, they're not happy with what the
Plan is,
plan is.
okay.
They're developing it.
Well, that's not our jurisdiction on the ADUs.
Stormwater definitely is, but if you know, if it's sufficient, then it's
Right, if you
sufficient.
Expand the swales, that would probably help.
Yep.
Anybody else, questions?
More just a comment. I just wanted to echo Brittany's comment about putting gravel or something more pervious along that flat section of the driveway. I know you said you would check with the homeowners, but that is what I'm more in favor of, as opposed to blacktop across the whole thing.
Anybody else? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's all, thank you.
Anybody in the audience have a comment, question? Anybody online, please raise your hand if you have a comment or question. I don't see any. So, obviously, we need to continue this. Do you have a date you want to continue to?
We should have got the answer back from NHESP by now, so if I could continue to July 2nd.
Okay. So I hear a motion to continue this to July 2nd with probably new plans.
Yes, we'll get new plans in next week.
We have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second, Jack. Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
This goes here. All right.
Can you, sorry, Karen, can you just confirm they received it? I don't see it on their pending list. So I don't know if they got it. You could just follow up with them.
I believe it was submitted on May 7th.
I have the receipt, but usually I check their portal to see if it's on the list, and it's not on there.
I will let Paul follow up on tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next one is SE 832541, Cape Down Engineering for Gold Village Waterside LLC, 679 and 681 Route 28, proposed stone revetment with fill in riverfront area, land under the ocean, coastal bank, land containing shellfish, and land subject to coastal storm floodage. And that is, again, 679 and 681. Route 28.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Dan Ojala with Downkeep Engineering. With me is Philip Teneo, who is a EIT engineering training. Phil worked carefully with the other stamp on the plan, which is Ryan Philbrook, our structural guru, who helped design the wall that you have in front of you tonight. This is a project which you may be familiar with somewhat. It was, they did an emergency repair on a failing section of the wall, and then Coastal came in and did the prior to Ty and Bond, I believe it was still Coastal, did a large sheet pile redesign. The owner asked us to take another look at it and Varn to look at it and see if we could come up with something that was a little bit more in keeping with what was there. So we did do that. We are proposing a rock revetment that's basically going to match on either side. You can see from the photographs that there's a large chunk taken out of the wall. That's some aerial view there. And it's scarped in. This is in part because of the Route 28 overpass is fairly narrow and it chokes the river down, and because of that, you get a high velocity on an outgoing tide, and there's swirling and other unusual activities due to the man-made sources just upstream. So a lot of this area has been revetments and licensed over the years. And there formerly was a little chunk of salt marsh here. I remember back from my childhood that's why this one wasn't done, but that has since succumbed to the swirling of the currents and fallen in, and is no more. So I think the time is now to just kind of repair that up and put it back. We feel that it's a reasonable proposal. Waterways and Shellfish looked at it and asked a few questions. One of the things they wanted to know was, gee, this kind of looks like it sticks out a little bit further. And we want to remind them that it really doesn't. That's buried toe stones. Because of the weird jetty eddy effect in this area, we wanted to make sure that those toe stones were plenty far, so we buried them, and then we'll simply rake the muck back, the riverbed back up over them. So the true line of it is basically going to line up with what's there. This is all buried. You can see on the drawings it's a lighter font, but it didn't project particularly well on the laser, and so it looks like it's bigger than it really is. But that's all buried there above the surface. It'll be very similar to what's matching on either side. Resources are, land under water and a man-made bank in this area. The Lobster Boat Restaurant has a number of floats and licenses over the years we've worked on with them. Those are all going to remain, and this is just this one little infill to kind of patch a hole in the wall where there's an eddy current. And some pretty significant damage. So you'll recall that was approved before. Staff did ask us, gee, why did you change from what the approved plan is now? And I believe it was NHASPER, someone had called up too and asked a question, and we mentioned that, we're concerned about the energy. When you put a large sheet pile in, you need a high-energy hammer slamming, and we don't want the rest of the rock settling. We don't want the restaurant settling. And also, that's a bit of an unnatural thing. Rocks are inert; they're natural. Steel and subject to corrosion, and it's not a natural element along the riverfront. And we think this will blend in better. The other toe stones were just kind of tossed in front of the bulkhead, and we think a more integral solution will be better. We'll carefully fit them in on either side and make it a nice smooth wall. There's no cofferdam required. We'll get Robert Biauer with a gigantic excavator. We'll just scoop down, set the rocks, set the fabric and stone, and work at low tide and in the water a little bit. But it'll be quick, a couple days, and it'll be buttoned up. Again, it's all natural material. It's consistent with the existing shoreline protection on either side. And just a little bit of, clean fill is landward of the wall where it has been scarped in. There were some older orders. We've got a COC request, obviously, for the one that's approved now. If you guys approve this, we'll request that COC. And there was another order that was closed out, and we can record that prior to any work on the site. as well. We checked with the owner, that won't be a problem. So without going through with great detail, the narrative, which does cover your performance standards for the riverfront, the bank, land containing shellfish. Again, waterway shellfish approved it, and didn't have any real issues. It was, basically very similar, to the design that was approved before. Honestly, it's just a little bit of a design change, and probably be a little bit of a cost savings too, as well as getting rid of that kind of unusual steel bulkhead. And we're planting up gradient. We've got, safety rail going back in, and some sweet fern bushes up on top to touch up the buffer once we're done. We went through the alternatives analysis and decided that the stone revetment was preferred. Again, it matches what's there, it's natural, and we think it'll blend right in and be a good solution. Varnes looked at the structural stability of it, and by placing the toe stones extra deep, it does not have concerns about the scour. Be glad to answer any questions if you guys have them. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody? You do? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh. I apologize. I'm going to have to read this because I looked at this. I wrote my question, and I'm going to just. And you might have already answered it. Thank you. It appears that you really looked at the least invasive application, and we really appreciate that. And I understand that you didn't look at, other hybrid, like living shorelines or limited stone. But my question is, the scour. Have you evaluated? I'll read it. Have you evaluated whether the existing revetments adjacent to the site are altering the flow patterns or concentrating energy in a way that contributes to the scour observed in this gap? If not, then how are we to conclude that extending won't perpetuate or weaken the condition?
Sure. So it's a good question, and you can see on a slack tide, it's very placid and calm. But what we observed was it's a real jet flow coming out on an outgoing tide, which curls around and has a little bit of a swirling effect here. I don't think there's too much that we can do to help or hurt that. We had talked about putting a few rocks up gradient to kind of deflect the flow out a little bit, but that's kind of an unusual situation here. It's only for a few hours on the lower tide before it gets enough water in it that the backwater slows the flow down. I think the best we can do is, and the coastal plan hadn't really fully shown the depth of that, but it goes down to about what do we have, minus 8, almost minus 9 down there. So what the plan is to simply roll with what we've got there, push the toe stones well down below any scour line that would be expected, and put the bottom back the way it is. And being that the general shape of this is already in place, it's just got a small gap in it. I do not see any reason why the hydraulics should change significantly in the area. It may, increase the flow line a little bit and cut down on the eddying to have a smoother surface there. It won't have as much, momentum to curl back behind the existing wall. So I would think, if anything, it'll be a little bit better than what's there now. But, again, where we're just infilling between two rock walls, the entire other side is all rock wall, and it's a pretty wide river. I do not think it would warrant, a more detailed hydrogeologic analysis than what we looked at, which is just to smooth that transition out and make sure the stones are deep enough so if a little bit more scour does occur, we're not going to have a catastrophic failure.
Thank you for that very thoughtful response.
Jack?
This diagram, I'm sorry, don't remember, that is of the new face?
Yes.
And how far down do the rocks go on the connecting, both ends? Are they still there?
Yeah, so the existing rock walls do go down about 4 feet below grade, as I recall, and, but the grade also, so they'll build it up to meet those. But the deepest section is certainly section AA, where we're down at, 5 feet below grade plus. It goes up to -4 on either side, and I would say those are probably around 0. Just -4 be about -8 on either side. But we'll certainly, remove a couple stones and fit them in and transition that smoothly.
My next question is, how are you going to actually tie them together?
Yeah. So the way they do that is simply get stones that fit together and carefully fit them in. You don't just dump them on something like this. They're all carefully keystone. You usually lay them on the flats, kind of points out, so they stack like pancakes. And the guys that do them are experts. The hydraulic equipment has big thumbs, and they can adjust them and fit them in very nicely.
So do they take stones out?
Yeah, they
so
make
that they
a
can-
zigzag and fit them back in precisely, yeah.
Okay.
They'll have a palette to work with. They'll look for the right size stone. Sometimes they take one, it doesn't fit, they'll get another one, they'll fit it in, and that's how they work, yeah. And it'll look, it's not like a mortared finish. Nobody really does those anymore. They're frowned upon, but it'll be as tight as you can get without mortar.
So the current recommendation is to have as rough a face as possible and not as tight a face as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, points out will give you a nice rough face, but you don't want huge gaps in it either. So that's when I say to key them together, you're going to have a very rough surface, but a tight fit.
Okay. Is there a metric you can include to reflect that is, or a note to some effect to say like the idea is to have a very rough, I mean, your detail shows a very smooth face revetment.
Right.
It looks pretty smooth.
So the way we did it, I think note 8 would cover it. I'll just read it real quick. Armor stone should be specified the granite boulders with the weight of the typical profile. Select generally non-elongated angular stones and fit them in place for maximum stability, subject to review by the engineer. They firmly contact the bed stones and the armor stone directly, and they shall be placed so that they interlock to avoid shifting. Armor stone shall be set in a points-up orientation, and so what that means, instead of a smooth face, you're looking at a more pointed and rougher surface than like what you would have across the street is the old, like you say, the old way of doing them, where it's smoother. Now they're somewhat rougher, but they're pancaked up, kind of on their backs with the points out. And I think that note, the points up orientation in note 8,
Okay.
and I'll make sure that they are aware of that.
Thanks.
I have a couple concerns I'd like to ask about. Unless somebody else has something first.
I do, if...
Go ahead.
I was just wondering what's happening with the parking lot and the asphalt, since it looks like it's literally falling into the water.
Yeah. Basically, there's enough room there, so it's not critical that we, gain back a few inches. We're squaring it up, backfilling it, and just repaving the edge, putting a code-compliant safety fence along there. So, there'll be maybe a very small pocket where that third lumber is on the side where we'll square up the edge, but other than that, it's basically we're going to leave the edge as it's eroded, plant on this side of it. So we're going to retreat just a little bit from where it used to be.
You're going to pick the asphalt up?
I think he's
That's
talking
city.
about
Oh, no, that's going to stay. Yeah, that'll be number 1, get the asphalt out of the river. Yep, good point.
Is there any reason we're not retreating further in this severely eroded scenario instead of filling the Parkers River?
Well, again, it's a recent scarp, and it'd be unusual to leave a pocket there. I think an S turn it'd be maybe a little bit more natural than to have a reverse little pocket left in there.
What's natural is what happened. I don't see any reason we can't pull it back to decrease at least the amount of fill we need to be adding under mean high water. Is there any possibility to pull it back a little so you don't have to add quite as much fill into the Parkers River?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, it looks to me like we'd lose one parking space if we back that up a little bit, which would be the parallel space that's opposite those. So I think we could probably live with the edge that's there now, rather than
Show me
bumping it
what
out.
you're talking about, and where would you expect, Brittany, for a line to go? Straight through?
What do you mean?
I would be really against any kind of change in the, rather than the curve, continuing the curve there. You're going to create currents that are going to battle the wall itself and get a suction going, even as little as you might just put in. I just don't think any kind of indent. I think you're going to need straight or curve slightly between
But
the ends of the wall.
The plans that they have provided don't show the existing conditions clearly, so they're filling the top where I think there is an opportunity to just start the revetment as proposed where this top is. I'm not sure, I'm not an engineer, but so they're proposing 42 cubic yards of fill. So section A, I think, can be revised to show the existing grade where it has eroded, to get us an idea of where the fill is going, because it is going below mean high water. So we're filling the Parkers River, which is generally frowned upon under the Wetlands Protection Act.
But that's where it was.
But it's not there anymore.
But it was, and once you start fooling around with the currents, by indenting that at all, you're going to create a different kind of current, slight as it might be.
Well, my question was going to be, how much of this got ruined or changed because of the redoing of the Parker River, of the bridge on 28?
Well, I would argue all of it, you know, I mean, well, the redoing, I wouldn't go there, but they didn't widen it, to my knowledge, any, and that's what would have taken to slow that current down. You know, when it's filling up, you got a wide neck, but then when it's coming out and you got a 2 or 3 foot head drop and it jets through there, you got a tremendous, like a jet ski on steroids, pushing water right against this, and you know, it puts a big scour right on the wall. And it's definitely not a natural situation. And that little bit of salt marsh that was way out there at the time, you can look at the old maps, I remember it, just goes undermined and succumbed and fell in, and that was the end of it. And it's been gone probably for 15 years or something like that now. But it's, you know, I think retreating to the line that we have now is giving up something. We can saw cut that off and give you a couple of feet, and then that would put pretty much a straight line between the, you know, I think that's, again, it's a little bit deceiving because you've got to go down to the bottom of that scour hole with the toe, but the mud line will be pretty much a straight line.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we can
And
make that
if it's
adjustment. I
possible
think.
to show the existing edge somewhere, either on a separate sheet or in your section, it's just we have no understanding of how far the parking lot has eroded in these photos because you only show the proposed conditions.
Yeah, you can see it graphically right here that, you know, it's only a 1.5 feet or 2 of asphalt mix has fallen in, but.
Wouldn't you also want to avoid any unnecessary load near the top of this revetment? So why would we want people to park up that close?
Yeah, the rock wall is, you know, with the wheel stops, you wouldn't be putting much of a load on that wall.
No?
But not significant considering the weight of the stone, but, you know, fair enough, you know, it's, we can certainly pull it back a little bit, and I think we'd only lose, you know, 1 parking space, so.
I counted
Thank
3
you.
to 4, but either way, it's a huge parking lot. I don't think you'd have a problem with losing. If it was a small parking lot, I'd understand, but more parking spaces than, I've never seen that parking lot full, let's put it that way. I think maybe occasionally.
Well, right now,
And you don't
it's-
have the spaces now anyway, so
Yeah, they're not able to be used right now, fair point, yeah. But, again, I think what we'd do is move those back and would lose a couple behind them would be the most efficient way to do it.
Do you know what that fall,
Yeah, what is
the
this?
pipe coming out there is?
No, I could look into that.
That'd be great.
And how you're going to be sure it doesn't interfere with,
Yeah,
dump onto the rocks in a road?
yeah. There was a little drainage trench up gradient, so I think we can cap it off, and that'll be that. Infiltration trench years ago.
And this looks like an irrigation line that should be removed
Yes, 100%, I agree.
as part of the emergency cert in 2022.
Yeah,
It
I
was
going to bring
required to
that up,
be
and we gave you,
shut. It was required to be shut off at that point. I think they had no access, but now
Right.
it's accessible.
but it certainly is now. Okay.
So that one,
Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, Brittany, can you go back to the picture that shows the existing area that needs to be repaired? Not that one, the one more over the top.
This one.
Um,
Sorry, that's only I only have four.
Well, anyway, it gouges in pretty
Oh.
far.
This one.
No, yeah, that one.
I'll get rid of this.
Maybe the one on the right there.
The snow one?
Yeah, that one. So could you
Look at
show
that
me,
water,
after all this explanation, how the wall is, I think you might have already indicated this, but show me with your cursor where the wall under the proposal would, where the line of it would be.
I mean, they're proposing like very close to straight across with some toe stones very deep over here that extend.
And that's where you're concerned about putting fill into the Parkers River, right?
I'm concerned about the fill closer.
You think
I
it should
mean,
be closer to the,
I think without changing it drastically, he said he could pull it in a little bit
a little bit?
and save some fill.
A little bit satisfied or concerned about putting too much fill in the river?
We'll see what they come up with.
Okay, all right. And also, my other question is, what existed there before? What, did the wall follow like that line that was just put up on the screen?
It was salt marsh.
It was all salt marsh? So
yeah,
there-
there was serious erosion at the property, and we were allowed to armor the side of the bank. But there was a small piece of salt marsh that was right in the middle of that, and the commission at the time says, nope, don't touch that. And as we know, salt marshes, that was, how old is that
Already
one?
gone, in
16?
2016.
It was pretty old. I would guess it was.
So that explains it. So that just sort of
That was the
caves.
reason that there was a gap in the wall. Otherwise, we would have connected them at the time. And so the salt marsh kept us from doing that. And then the salt marsh just, by the nature of, you can see the current that whips through there, it just succumbed to being undercut and fell in.
Good
Yeah,
photo
there's
of that,
a
actually.
pretty good jet there, yeah. So it's, it's an unusual situation. Obviously, you don't see that anywhere else in the river. Why not? Because nowhere else in the river is that narrow. When you narrow the flow, Q equals volume times area, you reduce the area. The Q stays the same, velocity goes up. So it's just directly proportional to the cross-sectional area. So it creates a jet, and that creates, odd currents, and we just need to protect the life and limb there.
I think I
Okay,
might
thank
have
you.
some more
I know, after I said-
Sorry.
So what would be the setback to the parking lot? Do you have a defined setback to the pavement?
Well, we could scale it off this plan, but it's about 5 feet between the top of the wall and where the guardrail and wheel stops would go.
You're okay with that? You don't, you just.
Oh, I live on the edge, yeah.
That's a good one.
No, it's we'll put a nice guardrail there, and again, it's a rock. It's
Yeah.
got a little bit of a flat surface on top, and then it slopes down, so it's not only 5 feet. And
Yeah. Just don't do their deliveries there,
the weight of these stones, the
Yeah.
parking lot's not going to go anywhere. No, that's not a big concern. But obviously you don't want kids running in there. So
Are those dead men? Like, what are those doing there?
those are to keep
Road
people from
test?
driving in.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little
Road test.
guard. Yeah,
Lock.
dynamic. Just drop them once in a while, see what happens. Yeah. But no, that's for vehicular. Once the post went down, they had to do something there.
And Brittany, you have anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Anybody in the audience? Anybody online? Having seen none, we need to continue. What's good for you? The 2nd or the 16th of July?
I would say, I would go to the 16th, just to make sure we run it by Byron and the owner and everybody's happy, not try and rush it.
So can I hear a motion to continue to July 16th?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
No one's opposed. Okay, great. Thank
All right,
you.
appreciate your time. We'll get a revised plan back at least a week before the meeting, and hopefully we'll get wrapped up at that. Appreciate your time.
Okay. The next two, I'm going to take them one at a time, but just if you didn't hear, that we just got a notice that they would ask to continue to July 2nd. So I'll read it in. SE 832539, Shorefront Consulting for Barry and Judy Lass, 7 Tide Lane, proposed reconstruction of existing seawall in a riverfront area, land under the ocean and land subject to coastal storm floodage. Can I hear a motion to continue to July 2nd? So moved, Jack. Second, Bradford. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the next one is SE 8320-2540. Again, Shorefront Consulting for Jason and Tina Lilly, 143 Mayflower Terrace. Proposed reconstruction of a seawall further landward and new fiber roll array in riverfront area, coastal beach, coastal bank, and land subject to coastal storm floodage. Again, can I hear a motion to continue to July 2nd?
So moved.
Why are they continuing? I was just curious on why.
This one, I requested revisions.
Say that again?
For this one, 143 Mayflower Terrace, I requested too many revisions for him to provide.
That's fine.
So he
So,
requested
I'm
to
sorry,
continue.
who moved? Bradford, you moved it?
Motion, no, I think Paul did, and I second.
Paul, and then Bradford seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, we have 2 COCs. The first one is SE 832310, BSC for Valentina and Mircha Kacha. I apologize if I mispronounced. 52 Wilfin Road. Brittany?
At your last meeting, which I'm going to pull up the voting sheet for, you requested some things, including planting the 35-foot buffer fully. The mitigation planting was planted, but not sufficiently, so they filled the 35-foot buffer, and they removed the fire pit and supplied a revised as-built plan to reflect those changes. Joe did a COC inspection, and everything that was requested has been completed.
Okay.
There's a revised plan.
Questions about that for anybody?
I do have this is the first time looking at this. It says relocated fire pit. I thought we were going to do a temporary one.
Correct, that's where the relocation will be. It will be a temporary fire pit. Maybe it was confusing the way I worded it, but it's not a fixed fire pit. It's a temporary fire pit, but that's the location that we're proposing to put it in.
Okay. So here are the plants. And there is lawn between them. We discussed very briefly that you kept that in place. How sloped is this? Enough for... You don't want to have bare soil in between.
Well, right now the grass is stopping water from running down into the wetlands. You know, it's capturing it. If we change it to anything else, we have the plants to stop people from going in there, but if we get rid of the grass, then it's just going to allow water to run down into the wetlands quicker. So,
What about a native ground cover?
Yeah.
that would mean excavating all the grass out, which we thought would be just something that was not worth the effort. Just let it grow.
So the mitigation area should be able to be maintained in perpetuity without any, interaction with it. So it's supposed to be allowed to naturalize with the grass there. It would kind of kill the plants over time if it's not mowed, which we want to avoid. So it's up to the commission whether or not they want to allow that to stay.
I would not be in favor of allowing lawn to stay within a mitigation area.
especially if it kills the plants. Anybody else?
So you were just afraid that it would be more disturbance by doing that, or?
Correct, yeah, I mean, we'd have to dig it all up. With
Yeah.
a machine and dig up the topsoil. To me, that, risk and reward, the reward wasn't as good as as bad as the risk of leaving it the way it is. I mean, we planted, we actually put in more plants than were called for to fill it in. So I think we're trying to do everything we can. Mr. and Mrs. Cacho with me tonight if you have any questions for them, but I think we've attempted to do what the commission had requested. I don't really want to put a machine in there to dig out the 4 inches of topsoil to remove the grass.
How long has this mitigation plantings been in?
Between the two meetings, so probably a week after the last meeting, which was a month ago.
All of them? Or only some of them are replaced, or?
Only some of them. The ones at the rear are were in there before. You can see the ones.
Yeah, in this area. So
If we're allowing the mitigation area to naturalize, I'm confused why the grass is so short. Is it being mowed?
The grass has not been mowed behind. Once that wire fence, that's chicken wire fence that runs all the way across. The fence the grass would have been. Well, I can ask the Gratches. Have you cut the grass this spring in that area?
There's hardly any grass there.
But did you cut in the spring before we planted it?
A little bit, because
So yeah, it was cut once before before our last meeting, and then the plants went in, and then the wire. You can't see the chicken wire well there, but that goes from one side to the other side because there's a huge issue with rabbits. So we had to encase the entire area to keep the rabbits out, front and back.
Can I just ask
Yeah.
a question, please?
Ed?
Yeah, so you don't want to get in there and remove the grass because that would be a disturbance to the area, right? And you're thinking that the grass now prevents some water from going down into the wetlands.
Yes.
What was the original intent of the plantings? Was a lawn or grass was not included in that, right? It was just a matter of the various plants going in there that conformed with the COC, right?
Right.
Okay, so what would have been there, what could have been there according to those COC specifications rather than the grass in the original?
Well, probably at the time this was approved, we might have put in mulch, but the commission has now
Don't like
said that
mulch.
mulch is not allowed in this area.
Yeah, so what is the alternative? The thing is, you can, I don't know if this would work because of the fact that you can't use mulch anymore, but you can get rid of the grass just by covering it with something, like plastic or something for a time period, and the grass will die, right? But then what do you put down instead? Maybe I'm asking Brittany this question.
native ground covers, yeah, so,
Another
the-
ground cover.
yeah, the proper way to establish a mitigation area would be to remove the lawn at the beginning so that it all grows in with the ground cover between.
What's an example of the ground cover? Just give me a name.
Bearberry.
Yeah, there's lots of,
So could the grass be removed, as I said, by covering it up, waiting for it to die, and then planting the ground cover?
if the commission wants to allow that, that would be fine.
I mean, that would be
That would be more
Approach,
time,
right?
yeah, so we would have to continue the COC until they could kill the grass and then
yeah, well, that'd be a matter
replant
of
it, so
over the
probably to
summer.
the fall, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that would be a reasonable approach.
And we had asked for, if you could bring up the site plan, please. We had asked for a vent station on the right-hand side. It's completely outside the 50-foot buffer. So we are requesting that vent station in that area. You can see
I thought we were gonna,
inside the shed.
oh, that has to be separate from the COC request.
Correct, we did submit a plan, and
With an admin review, or what?
it was submitted dropped it off either yesterday or the day before.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, that has to be reviewed separately from the COC request, so we'll have to address that at a different
I
time.
just want to bring it up so that the commission knows about it, you know.
Yeah, but if we're voting on this as-built plan, we're approving it.
Yeah, we can't really have
Yeah,
a
as built.
proposed RIN station on the as-built plan, because it's not there.
Correct, and because the commission is not likely to approve us tonight, that's, I guess, the word proposed isn't enough for as-built plan with a proposed fencing station.
I mean, even if the mitigation plantings were adequate, I wouldn't vote to approve this solely because of the RIN station on the as-built plan that is not part of this project. So, I mean, that's just me. I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but I'm not going to approve something that hasn't been reviewed yet.
I think we need to focus on the area that we've been talking about, not on the proposed RIN station.
So Paul's idea, though, you still have to contend with the root system. I mean, you kill the grass, it turns yellow, but you still have a root system to get. So it would be a lot of handwork, right, to get that grass up? Or how would you get that grass up? 'Cause
You don't need to get all of it up as long as it's dead. You could plant right into it,
Okay, so
because then it won't.
that, then it isn't as, I mean, I'm hearing from you that if we got, removing the grass would be a lot of disturbance, and I'm just trying to zero in on a way to do that with minimal disturbance. And it sounds like we can get the plantings in there. What's to prevent us from getting more plantings in there?
Practically, it can be done once the grass is done, but, you know, my clients have put a lot of effort into bringing it back to the way that the commission wanted. You know, we said at the last meeting, this is what we were going to do, to plant this area. It's a lot more time and expense to get the grass out of there. And plus, we can't close the COC because of it.
I'm sorry, did we specifically say we wanted the grass out of there?
No, but it is a best management practice to establish a mitigation area to remove all the lawn first.
But Karen is saying that.
We did
they
not
ca-
specifically say it, no, we didn't.
Huh?
But you're right, we didn't specifically say remove the lawn and plant the mitigation area.
So in good faith, the thing is, we didn't say that, and now this is the existing situation, and now it seems like we're going to require the owners to do more work. And,
To meet the original conditions of the order, I think, yeah, for a mitigation to be mitigation, has to naturalize. And I don't think it can naturalize with lawn in between.
I would agree. I'm having a hard time talking about disturbance of removing grass when the entire project was to raise and replace a single-family dwelling. So the amount of disturbance that has occurred on this site has been tremendous, and they didn't adequately put in their mitigation plantings, and so now we have to remedy this fact years later about an inadequate mitigation because we don't want to disturb the ground a little bit to put in a more appropriate planting that should be established within a year or two. It seems a little asinine in my opinion.
So how long has this been going on? You mentioned years ago. When was this order?
The order was issued in 2021.
So how many of us agree with Paul's, would like to see Paul's idea,
Which is what?
which is cover the grass, let it die naturally, and then plant with ground cover? Is that fair to say what you said?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't, Ellie asked the question, I mean, if I was doing it myself and less,
Yeah, I don't think we have to specify the route they choose to remove the lawn. If you just decide lawn has to be removed and the area is seeded with ground cover.
well, the question did come up about how it would be done, so I was trying to answer that question.
Yeah, it's a good option, but I don't think you need to
We just need to require it.
Yeah, whether you want it removed or
Okay.
or killed or removed, I think is fine.
So can I hear kind of you have a question or going to make a motion?
A question, statement. There are lots of methods out there for doing what we're talking about. And I don't see how, personally, we could decide covering the lawn, digging it up, burning it. There are 20 or 30 main methods out there of putting in new plants. We say no mulch, no irrigation, and I would think that there's, rather than saying, let's do a certain method, give them a deadline that it has to be done and it's successful. And I, like, 3, 4 years, what would you think? By any method that you would recommend to them, how long a time do you think it'd take to get a good set of natural plant, native plants?
It depends on the
Established.
growing season and the number of growing seasons that the commission wants to see. Obviously, we're here because we want to close the certificate of compliance.
In a lot of
I'd
years.
Continue it for 3 growing seasons, because that'll be 3 years from now. So if we could come back with, dead, killed, burned grass of some sort, and then with ground cover installed.
But the record is not very good.
The record of,
That, what's been accomplished so far. So I'd say 3 years, okay. That seems like a reasonable time.
I would hope that the commission would consider something different than that. That is a substantial amount of time to add 3
Okay.
years to the project, so.
Our
I
standard
would
is
ask that we
2.
come back once the ground cover is in and healthy, and have a discussion with the commission at that time. And then maybe staff can review and see how they feel at that, and make a comment to the board.
Yeah.
so basically the motion would be that they would have to replace the grass with ground cover. And that's basically the motion. Am I right, Brittany?
It's up to you.
Well, would that be good as far as your
Timeline?
experience and,
I would just need you to have a timeline.
So to come back in the fall, once they've,
Seeded, yeah.
Once they seeded it, or once?
yeah, so I guess by the fall, we'd see that the grass has been taken care of. We wouldn't necessarily see that any seeds, native seeds resprouting. And then we'd be able to see any additional plantings that went in, so I would say the second hearing in September, maybe?
Okay.
Well, how is the ground cover planted? I mean, is it seeds that you put down? It's like wildflower seeds or something? I mean,
Could be both.
Yeah.
it could be both, so it's no mystery. I mean, you could plant that kind of stuff. If the area was prepared, you can plant it in September, and it would be up in end of October, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily. Some seeds need dormant period.
What?
Some seeds need a full dormant winter before they grow.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't
But
pick
they'll be
those kinds of
there.
seeds.
Unfortunately, a lot
Jack
of our
brought up
natives.
You brought up a great point. I mean, I was going down the rabbit hole of means and methods, and that's really not, with the burning, it doesn't matter. What we're saying is that this is inadequate and it has to be a redo. Regardless of means and methods, it has to be a redo. And
I think we also want to be sensitive.
we're trying to help, understand.
Yeah.
I was trying to understand the disturbance element, but if it's not
but I-
acceptable, it's.
Again, I mean, Karen's bringing up a good point. You're going to put folks through 3 more years of this. I mean, is there something that could be done by the fall that would be?
Yeah, that, I think,
Yeah, no,
appropriate
3
thing,
months.
you know?
yeah,
That's what Bradford, I think, is.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he was also, if I understood you, were also concerned that it wouldn't be accomplished by then.
It will not be fully naturalized like
Yeah.
we would normally see in a mitigation plant that was done correctly and then allowed to establish for 2 seasons, but we're well beyond that point, so we're just trying to remedy at this point and make sure it's on the right direction to being a natural established mitigation area and not just lawn in a year from now.
So do you want to make a motion, Bradford?
I move that we continue, yep,
I won't be here in September if we go for the first meeting in October.
okay. I don't know the date of that.
October 1st.
October 1st.
Over there.
I move that we continue to October 1st for removal of grass and planting of native ground covers.
I'll sec, oh,
You want to second it, Jack?
Go for it.
Okay.
We look forward to it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
Okay,
Who seconded that, Jack?
yes. Okay, the next one is SC 83-2198, Ride and Wilcox for Derek Johnson, 37 Moss Road.
And Stephanie is here on Zoom. I think everything has been addressed since our last hearing, but I didn't want to tell her she didn't have to come in case you had questions. But at the last hearing, the commission requested that lawn be removed from in between the mitigation plantings and native seed applied, and they have completed that. So here is what the mitigation area looks like. Yes, it's bare.
Look.
Yeah, they've
So
completed
it is
it.
possible.
It is possible. Great intro. They do have some irrigation still in place, and they've added elbows to the downspouts. But Stephanie is online. Can you just confirm that the area's been seeded with something?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. I have not been to inspect the plantings. I just had a message from the landscaper saying that the work had been completed. And then our field crew did go and locate they expanded the mitigation area to cover a bigger area, and we did locate that and updated the as-built plan.
Okay, yes, we did receive the revised as-built plan. So I think I would recommend that the commission issue this certificate of compliance with ongoing conditions
13, 15, 18.
13, 15, and 18, pending confirmation that the area's been seeded.
Anybody want Jack?
I have no discussion.
I'm going to have Pat make the motion.
Oh,
This is her
good
last
idea.
motion.
Oh,
Pat?
Yes, I make a motion that we accept this COC with ongoing SC 13, 15, and 18.
Great.
Nicely done. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is approval of minutes. I read them. Jack, you have any problems?
Well, first of all, let me point out that last time it sounded like you were just handing me the job of reviewing the minutes for everybody, but in fact, that's not possible. Everybody has to read the minutes.
oh, yeah.
No, you just have to make the motion.
Have to make the motion.
I think that, first of all, we need a correction that Christian was at the meeting. He's not on the list, and he did actually make a motion or something, so he must have left halfway through.
No, he didn't leave.
No, he was here.
He was there.
And I will make a formal request, Jack. I need you to send these in writing via email.
Right.
I need you to send your revision requests in writing by email so I can fix them by the time we vote.
Oh,
So then we got it.
well, no, but we can vote with that, Christian.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's easier if, we fix
Sure.
it and then it's all in there.
Yeah, but anybody, if that's the case, then anybody with a correction needs to talk to you.
I
Yes,
usually do.
yeah, that's the usual protocol. They email me.
Yeah. I email-
Hey, I didn't-
I email Joe when
Yeah,
I
Joe.
see something.
Joe's minutes. Christian
Oh,
attended.
okay, I didn't have that in mind. I didn't know about that.
Okay.
Unless you want to do the minutes.
Yeah. I'd bring a DVD in here with it. Here's the
I'm just
minute
kidding.
for
Joe's
this
fine.
meeting.
Took us a week to read it.
It was practiced.
I make a motion, approve
Okay,
with the Christian vote.
Edit, yeah.
with the addition, with the amendment.
Yeah.
Anybody second?
What he wants to.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? All right, anything else? Do you have anything, Brittany?
I don't think so.
I think our next meeting,
I have
yes.
something to say. I just want to thank you all for working with such a dedicated group of citizens. Wonderful administrative staff here, between you and Kelly that I worked with. And I wish you all the best in continuing your pursuits to protect our wonderful Yarmouth wetlands. So, take
And-
care, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat.
We'll miss you, Pat.
And Pat's going to stay busy. She volunteers with APCC, counting horseshoe crabs and water quality testing. So the environmental commitment lives on.
Yeah, that's-
Thank you for all your work, Pat.
okay, thank
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
you.
Second, somebody?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:11 according to the clock behind Brittany.
Oh, yeah, I
Recording
was
stopped.
thinking that I might miss that.